Well, welcome to the Wednesday webinar series here with Restaurant Growth. Today, I have an exciting one. It's called KPIs Uncovered. KPIs are key performance indicators. These are the metrics that move the needle in the right direction, which is money. And we all want more money, right? Metrics that drive restaurant performance. As we always do, start off with a quote. All business problems are people problems. I would say that coaching helps solve those people problems. That's what you get a coach for. All business are people problems, and those people problems can be solved by getting a coach. And make sure to stick around the end. I got a little freebie for you guys, for the people that here on the call today live. Of course, I like to give you little handouts, little PDFs that you can use to grow your business and get a little bit more results. As always, here are the rules, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, have some fun. Please. I want you to have some fun. I want you to basically just enjoy the ride. Number two, take notes. Research has shown if you write stuff down in your own handwriting, you are 70% more likely to remember the information 30 days from now. And that's my goal. And number three, take some action. Please, you're going to get a lot of gold nuggets. You're going to get a lot of tools, a lot of ideas. Take one or two things and actually implement them. Because if you don't apply what you've learned, then you really haven't learned anything. Knowledge, contrary to popular opinion, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And then every once in a while, you're going to hear me say my famous hashtag. I'll say hashtag WTSD. What does hashtag WTSD mean? Quite simple. It means write this shit down. That's the gold nuggets I want you to really make sure you do right. So make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen. Take some nuggets. When I say hashtag WTSD, that's the gold, baby. That's the gold. If we never met before, this is your first time on the Wednesday webinars. I am Donald Burns. I am the restaurant coach. I am a recovering restaurant owner. I've been a consultant for multiple big, huge billion-dollar food brands, U.S. Foods, Cisco Foods, Shamrock Foods. I'm also a chef. When I had my own restaurant, I was a chef. When I sold my restaurants, I was a chef for Wolfgang Puck. I'm a restaurant investor, and I'm also a former member of the U.S. Air Force Pararescue Team's Combat Search and Rescue. I will tell you that the time I had in pararescue taught me more about peak performance and about high-level teamwork than any other time in my history. And I'm also quite well known for some of the books I have out there, probably most famously for my Your Restaurant Sucks trilogy. Your Restaurant Sucks, Your Restaurant Still Sucks, Your Restaurant Culture Sucks. And my newest book came out called Savage Restaurant Success. All of them are Amazon bestsellers. And I have another one coming out in about a month called Ingredients. I was hoping to have it out by now, but had a couple editing issues. So we had to kind of go back and rework a couple chapters, move some different things around so it just flowed better. That's the give and take of writing books. So I have a new book coming out pretty soon. You'll definitely hear about it when it gets close. So like a lot of people, when I opened my first restaurant in 1995, I thought that just having experience in the restaurant business, I like a lot of people, I grew up in the restaurant business. My father was a chef. So I started washing dishes, worked the prep, worked the line, been a server, been a bartender, but did almost every job in the restaurants. And I felt that just because I had a lot of experience in the restaurant business, that was the requirement to open a restaurant. Little did I know there's a huge difference between running a restaurant and building a profitable brand. And about 6 months into my opening of my restaurant, my dream started coming apart. And I realized that I was over my head and that I did not have the skills to build the brand. I could run the restaurant, but I did not know anything about finances, really. I mean, I knew some basics about food costs, but I didn't really know how to build a really, really solid P&L. I didn't know a lot about marketing at the time. I just thought if I had good food and good service, that people would naturally just come to me. I had that Field of Dreams marketing plan. What's that Field of Dreams marketing plan? If you build it, they will come. Well, no, not unless you tell them about it. And you got to be really aggressive with your marketing. So like a lot of people, I didn't know what to do. And in the 90s, there wasn't no such thing as a restaurant coach in the 90s. But I was very, very fortunate that a local businessman who was a kind of a regular at my restaurant saw me struggling, he reached out to be my first business coach. And in that time, he taught me a framework. And he calls it the combination of restaurant success. And it's very much like this. If I gave you a combination lock and said, open the lock, it'd be very, very hard without the combination. But if I gave you the lock numbers and the sequence they go in, you can open the lock whenever you want. That is exactly what we teach in the Restaurant Accelerator program. The Restaurant Accelerator program, the foundational framework we teach is called the 3P framework. It is always people, product, process. Now, where do most restaurants go wrong? They focus on the wrong items. Everyone starts with product because everyone has a menu. And then they realize, oh, I probably need some processes in place. Like I got some checklists. I probably need a P&L. And then they find, oh, I need to hire some better people. I need to interview some people. I need to train them a little bit. Remember that people feeds process, process feeds people. What do I mean by that? Every week, someone will call me and say, Donald, I'm frustrated. Why are you frustrated? Team doesn't follow the checklist. What's wrong with the checklist? Nothing. You gave me the checklist. All right. If the checklist is solid, it's the people part. You don't have the right culture in place. They don't know why the checklist is important. They are more on compliance instead of commitment. That's why it's not working. And also get the same thing. Someone will call me and say, I'm frustrated. Why are you frustrated? Well, I went to go walk the dogs this afternoon. I come back and everyone's standing around. These kids are on TikTok and on Snapchat. They're texting their friends. They're not doing any deep cleaning. I'll say, do you have systems in place? Do you have time systems in place? 11 o'clock do this, 12 o'clock do this. No. But they should know what to do. It's common sense. Hashtag write this shit down. Common sense is not common in the restaurant business. If you do not tell them, do not expect them to know. So the 3P framework is how we build our kind of restaurant from the ground up. It's always like building a house. It's people, then product, and then process. The Accelerator program is a series of workshops. So it's basically a frame within a frame. So we start off with strengths, team 1-1 team. Then we move into culture, the know why workshop, hirings, the talent attraction method. And each of these series, these kind of modules inside is a series of workshops and exercises to give you the tools, the training, and the coaching to be able to use those tools appropriately. Then we get into product part, food cost boot camp, understanding that gap between theoretical and actual food costs. Then we get into extreme menu makeover, making a highly profitable menu. Then we're going to take your organic marketing and really amp it up with the restaurant marketing machine, because when you have your organic game down, the paid game is so much easier. And then we're going to move finally into that process, or I like to call it also protection. We start having systems in place, restaurant track. We are start using some strategic maps, strat maps to get the strategy in place. And then we kind of solidify everything with that profit clinic where we start getting that 15, 16, 18% profit margin. The average person right now, the average client in our Restaurant Accelerator program is 19.8. And that's a really, really strong average. The average person in the Accelerator program right now is seeing a profit margin of 19.8, which is amazing. Now, I have some people a little bit higher, and we have some people like I have some steakhouses around 15, 16. But average, that's what we're doing. So today's session, today's webinar, we're going to be focusing in on some of the stuff that I talk about in the Profit Clinic. Now, the Profit Clinic is 15 hours. So I can't give you 15 hours of training in an hour webinar, but I'm going to give you some really, really key information that's going to help you move the needle and go in the right direction. KPIs are critical. And if you've never really looked at KPIs, you want to start looking at them. Here's the thing I want you to remember. KPIs are not just numbers on a dashboard. They are the pulse of your restaurant. They are the heartbeat of your business. They turn chaos into clarity, and they actually reveal the path to true success. KPIs are an indicator, and they tell you, basically, I always say a KPI is like a call to action. It tells me what to do more of, or tells me what to do less of. Here's the thing. You have to be aware what the numbers mean, and you have to have tools in place and an action plan to make the numbers move in the right direction. A lot of people say a KPI or see a KPI, they don't know how to fix a KPI. I get this with a lot of young managers. They know prime cost is one of the KPIs we look at, but they don't know how to fix prime costs, or their solution to fix prime costs is cut, save, right? The true path to success is mastery, mastering your KPIs. You want to become a KPI master. All right. And when you master your KPIs, trust me, you master your destiny. It is I've done it with thousands of restaurants. I will tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the people that are most successful, make the most money, know their KPIs like the back of their hand. They know exactly where their KPIs are at all times. You want to be that serious about these KPIs. I would say if you want more money, watch the numbers. Be obsessive about the numbers. You got to become obsessed. Not, I'm really passionate about my numbers. No, I want you to be freaking obsessed with your numbers. Like, I need to know where my numbers are all the time. Right. And if you are stressed out right now because your sales are low, your profits low, you need these numbers more than ever because they are going to tell you exactly what to do. Again, KPIs are a warning flag of what to do or what not to do. But you got to know what to do when you see the number. When you see that number, like, oh my God, that number is not looking good. What do I do to fix it? Right. My job as your coach is to give you more tools. All my coaching programs are designed to give you a lot of tools, because here's the thing. Most of the time in your toolbox, you have only maybe a screwdriver, a pair of pliers, and a hammer. And if every problem is a nail and the only tool you have is a hammer, you tend to pound the crap out of that problem with the only tool you have. But imagine if I gave you a toolkit that had over 100 different tools to it. You'd have a lot more options. When you have a lot more options, you have a lot better solutions. When you have a lot more solutions, you get a lot better results. That's the whole key of coaching, is to give you more tools, more options, more ways to solve the problems that you're dealing with. Because you're probably trying to solve them the same way right now, just beating the crap out of them with that hammer. So let's dig into some KPIs uncovered. All right. Here's the biggest thing you want to know. In the savage world of the restaurant industry, knowing your numbers is not a luxury. It is a damn necessity. KPIs, key performance indicators, are your weapons, your guiding stars. They are your fucking compass for attacking each day and ensuring that your restaurant not only survives, but actually thrives. So we're going to dive into 6 critical KPIs every restaurant owner should be tracking relentlessly. And here's the thing I will tell you. Did you know that there are actually 60 different KPIs that your restaurant could track? And I'm going to go through all these KPIs, and you're going to see that there's a lot of KPIs that you might be looking at right now that really don't make a difference. Not right now. If your restaurant is struggling, and what I mean by struggling, you're below 12% profit, means you're struggling. If you're below 12% profit, you need to really pay attention, because there's certain KPIs you're looking at that are not helping you out. And I want you to get some traction. I want to get your money going in the right direction, which is up. I do not want to see you doing that. How many people on the call ever do the weekend hope strategy? I hope it's busy this weekend so I can pay some bills on Monday. I lived there. I was so, oh my God. You want to talk about like a horrible lifestyle? Imagine like you look at your bank account on Friday and you just paid you just paid a couple big bills to some vendors. And then you realize, oh my God, oh my payroll is due. Sales tax is due. And then you're looking at the bank account and going, I don't have enough. I don't have enough to cover it. I hope it's busy this weekend so we can cover the bills. If you've ever been there before, trust me, I've been in your exact same shoes. It is a horrible existence. You are just living on the edge. You are just anxiety, stress, fear. You're not sleeping. You're probably drinking too much. I've done it all. Trust me. I used to bury and sedate all my problems with a lot of pills and alcohol. It was no way to live. I was horribly not taking care of myself. My relationships went down the tube. I was just destroying my marriage, distancing myself from my kids because I thought I could just outwork the problems. Hashtag write this down. There's some problems you just can't outwork. Sometimes you just need to be able to swallow that ego, pride, and denial and say, you know what? I need some freaking help, man. I need someone to help me look at my business and tell me, where am I going wrong? How do I fix this mess I'm in? Because the tools you have right now are not working. It's truth, right? The skills you have right now are not going to get your restaurant out of the hole you have. Because if you could get yourself out of the hole, you wouldn't be on this call. You'd be sitting on a beach in Cabo, drinking margaritas, running your restaurant remotely like a lot of my clients do. But instead, you're in the pit. And when you're in the pit, the first thing you want to do, and my dad always had like all these different like analogies all the time. The first thing you do when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. And when you stop digging, look up, because you might see there's someone with a hand out trying to reach down to pull you out of the hole you dug for yourself. That's me. I'm trying to reach out and help you realize that you can't solve the problem with the current weapons you have. You need new tools. To do that, KPIs are one of the most primary things we need. They are the warning sign. Like if I was driving in my car and you have warning lights go off, you ignore the warning lights, what happens to your car? So usually some bad shit happens. But if like check engine light comes on, temperature gauge goes off, the brake light comes on, you know there's something wrong. Well, that's what KPIs are. They're like the warning lights on your dashboard in your car. So let's look at some of these KPIs. And they're broken down into different categories. First, we got financial KPIs. These are like the basic ones everyone looks at. Prime cost, cost of goods, labor, and prime cost is basically food cost and labor cost together. Gross profit, net profit margin, ref pash, EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. Until you're making above 12%, you don't even need to look at EBITDA. Okay. You don't have to know it. Now, break even, you want to look at break even because you need to know what the break even is. Cash flow, critical. Check average, critical. Discounts and comps, critical. Food cost percent, beverage cost. Now I look at prime cost first. If my prime cost is off, then I dig into it. Is it in the food or is it in the beverage? And of course, operating expenses. That's 14 right there. Now we have sales and revenue KPIs, total sales, sales per square foot, sales growth rate, same store sales growth rate, daily sales, weekly sales, monthly sales, customer experience KPIs, guest satisfaction scores, net promoter scores, customer retention rates, table turnover rates, customer complaints, online reviews and ratings. I will tell you right now, number 15, total sales is one of the worst KPIs you can look at, because sales is a vanity metric. Doesn't matter how much you do, matters how much you keep. I have restaurants that start with me that do $3, $4, $5 million in sales, yet are at 2% profit. Hashtag write this down. Sales hides sins. Sales hides sins. If your restaurant's not at 12% profit or higher, you got to take a hard look at how I'm running the business, right? That's what was my thing. My sales were great at my restaurant. I was bleeding out money and I didn't know why, because I wasn't looking at the right numbers, right? Sales hides sins every time. It does. It's horrible. Marketing KPIs. Now, Luke and Michael will go over these. Marketing ROI, marketing impressions, customer acquisition costs, website traffic, social media engagement, email open rate, conversion rate, operational KPIs, inventory turnover, waste percentage, average inventory value, staff turnover rates, staff training hours, employee satisfaction scores, table turnover time, reservations versus walk-ins, time to fulfill orders. That's big on fast casual places and drive-thrus. Number of complaints. Oh, boy, they keep going. Oh, I think we're into this one. Efficiency KPIs. Oh, order accuracy rate. That's a big fast food one. Time per table turn, preparation time, delivery time, health and safety KPIs, health inspection scores, employee health and safety incidents, supply chain KPIs. Oh my God, supplier lead time, order fulfillment accuracy, sustainability KPIs, energy consumption, waste usage, waste reduction, loyalty retention rates, repeat customer rate, loyalty program participation, customer lifetime value. And then miscellaneous KPIs, reservation no-show rate, average turn, no table. I mean, 60 different KPIs. Imagine trying to juggle 60 balls at the same time. That would suck. So today we're going to focus on the 6 that are actually going to do something for you. The 6 KPIs that have the biggest impact on your profitability. And when that happens, it's going to have the biggest reduction in your stress and anxiety. If you'd like to have a little less stress, a little less anxiety, and a little more money in the bank, type in the chat, me. I want to make sure I'm talking to the right crowd. If you like less stress, less anxiety, but more money, type in me. Me, 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 me. Type it in, type it in, type it in. I got some all caps. Me, Blake. Me, 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 me. All right. Get your notes out. Here's where we're going to go. Ready? First one up. Prime cost. This is the goal. I mean, this is the holy grail of KPIs. It's the sum of your total cost of goods, your food cost, COGS, plus your labor cost. Ideally, your prime cost should be below 55%. If your prime cost is 65% or higher, you're on life support. You're bleeding out money. The higher above 65, the more you're bleeding. Now, let me give you a great story. I have a lady who's been in my coaching program for 5 years now. Her name's Cynthia. Cynthia runs a restaurant in Durango. When Cynthia started coaching with me, her prime cost was 143%. She wasn't bleeding out money. She was hemorrhaging. I mean, hemorrhaging horribly, to the point like every week when she got on a call with me, the first 10 minutes was her crying and me trying to talk her off the ledge. Horrible. But here's the thing. Everything is figure outable. No matter how bad your prime cost is, trust me, I can fix it. If you're coachable. What do I mean by coachable? You got to be willing to suspend your belief system and look at things a little different. And when I tell you to do something, I need you to do it. Right? A lot of times when I'm coaching people, I'm not giving you suggestions. I'm giving you the roadmap to get yourself out of the hole you're in. If you keep doing the same stuff you're doing, you're going to stay in that hole, and you can just keep burying yourself with deeper and deeper debt and less profits. But if you want to get out of the hole, you got to be willing to say, you know what? The things I'm doing right now aren't working. So I need to have some alternatives. I need some new tools. I need some new perspective. I need to look at my problems in my business a little bit different. That's why having a coach is so powerful, because I don't have any emotional interest in your business. I am a purely professional in the sense that I'm going to look at your business like a pro. I'm going to tell you exactly what's right, what's wrong, and I'll give you action. I'll give you tools. I'll give you training, and I'll give you coaching to start moving in the right direction. But you got to take the action. I can't do that for you. That's the one thing you have to do on your own. I'll give you the tools. I'll give you the training. I'll give you coaching all day long, but you got to be able to move the needle by taking those tools and actually apply. Remember, knowledge isn't power. Application of knowledge is power. That's where you need to be. Okay. So line in the sand, prime cost, 65% and above. Remember, financial shitstorm. Your restaurant's pulse is weak. You need to get help right now. At 60 to 64, you're still in the game, but you're usually doing what the national average is, anywhere from 2 to 6 profit, right? At 57 to 59, you're going to be better. Now, when I give you these profit margins, it's all based on food cost and beverage cost. It doesn't take into account the bottom part of your P&L. Like, so a lot of people might have really good prime costs, but they're still not making money. Why? Because the bottom part of their P&L is messed up. This is where we get into expenses, fixed expenses, all that stuff. Labor cost does include payroll, taxes, and manager labor. Yes, it does. All right? Yes. So 60 to 64%, you're in the game, but you're at that national average, 2 to 6%. 57 to 59, you're doing a lot better. You should be able to hit anywhere from 7 to 12% profit. 55 to 56, your profit margin should be anywhere from 12 to 15%. And below 55 is what we call the promised land. That's where your profits are 15% and higher. The lowest prime cost I've seen, probably 48%. Was the lowest prime cost I've seen. Most of my clients in my accelerator program run anywhere from a 52 to 54% prime cost on average, right? Now, I do have some people that run a 55, 56% prime cost, and they still make a lot of money because their overhead's really low. Again, I'm giving you some general statistics and numbers. We call these benchmarks, but each restaurant's going to be a little bit different, just so you know. How do we do the prime cost? Number one, we need to regularly monitor. That means you need to track your food and labor cost weekly, if not daily. If I was bleeding out money hemorrhaging money, I would be on top of my KPIs daily, not monthly. So many people, I mean, they screw this up because they get a P&L from their accountant on a monthly basis. A P&L on a monthly basis is never going to stop you from bleeding. You need to look at the numbers more often. I mean, how many people die? First thing you do when you wake up in the morning, you look at your bank account balance to see where you're up, if you're upside down or not. I mean, that's how serious you want to be about your numbers. You want to look at this stuff on a daily basis, because when I look at my KPIs on a daily basis, I know exactly what action I have to take. When you look at it on a monthly basis, now you're basically like, you have to go back and basically course correct. And unfortunately, when you look at your numbers on a monthly basis, it's hard to course correct when you've been that far off the game. It'd be like playing the Super Bowl, not calling any plays, wondering why you lost, and then looking back at the replay and going, oh, yeah, oh, we should have done this. Oh, yeah, that was a bad, oh, we should have done that. We should have done some different plays. You have to make calls in the moment, not after the fact, right? Menu engineering is a huge thing with prime cost. We get into the menu engineering, extreme menu makeover. I'm going to take you down the rabbit hole. We talk about menu engineering in 2 different workshops, food cost boot camp and extreme menu makeover. I'm going to take your menu apart. We're going to put it back together. I'm going to show you how to make a highly profitable menu. A big mistake restaurants make is they think marketing is going to save their restaurant. And that's why you reach out to a company like Restaurant Growth, SkyTel, because you want marketing. You think, if I just get more people in the door, everything's going to be okay. If your menu is not profitable, more people is not going to fix you. It's just going to basically put more holes in your bucket. I've seen a lot of restaurants bleed to death with a lot of marketing. It doesn't fix everything. Again, sales hides sins, marketing hides sins too, right? Labor optimization. You want to schedule your staff based on sales forecast, not just your gut feeling, not using the same schedule you did last week, because numbers might be different this week. I call this lazy scheduling. You don't want to be a lazy scheduler. How'd you come up with the schedule this week? Well, it's the same schedule as last week. Are your sales going to be this? Oh, this week's going to be a little bit slower. Then why the hell would you have the same schedule? Well, I don't want to disrupt everybody. Well, you're just going to keep bleeding out, because now you're not adjusting to the sales volume. And when you're not adjusting the sales volume, you're going to keep bleeding out money, right? You got to have a budget. You got to have a budget each week. You have projections each week, and you got to make sure you're using the tools you have properly. You should all have a food costing program, a software program, and there's a couple cheap ones out there. One is called Get Filet. It's with 2 L's, Get Filet. It's $10 a month. Jesus, if you can't afford $10 a month, you need to get a food costing program. All right. Margins Edge is another one, a little more expensive. I like Get Me's. Get Me's, I think, is like $40 a month. Great program for understanding your food cost. There's also scheduling programs out there that will help you out too. You need to have software to predict peak times and avoid overstaffing. Don't schedule lazy. That means using the same schedule from last week. And also, I hate to say it, is I call it the bulk times. Like everyone comes in at 8 o'clock. You don't need everyone at 8 o'clock. You can stagger your schedules a little bit better. Don't be lazy on your scheduling, please, please, please. And like I said, prime cost, most of you have maybe 6 tools in your toolbox to fix prime cost. My toolkit has 103 different ways to fix prime cost. When you look at your prime cost and it's at 67, and I look at your prime cost at 67, if you've got 6 ways to fix it, I have 103 different ways to fix it. Who do you think is going to get better results? I'm going to beat you every single time, because I have a lot more options to fix your prime cost. This is one of the things we teach in the Profit Clinic. I'll teach you this entire, we call it the Prime Cost Boot Camp. I'm going to give you all the tools, show you how to use all the tools to fix your prime cost once and for all, so you never have to worry about it ever again. Again, the tools are there. You have to pick up the tools and apply them. Okay. 103 ways, 103 tactics to fix prime cost. Restaurant success is not rocket science. It's just people science. If you want to get better results, you need more tools. That's all it is. That's why coaching is so powerful. So prime cost is number one. The next KPI you want to look at is called RevPash. I love RevPash. It's probably the most undervalued KPI in existence. Why? It's revenue per available seat per hour. RevPash is your ticket to maximizing every hour your seats are available. It is the revenue generated per seat per hour. Tracking this will help you understand and optimize your seating and also your pricing strategies. What do we do with KPIs? Especially if we're below 12%, we track them daily. I need to know what's my RevPash per hour. What am I making per hourly? All right. Identify peaks and valleys. Adjust the strategies based on peaks and off-peak hours. What's the most common thing people do to drive business during off-peak hours? Happy hour menus. Here's the number one mistake most restaurants make with their happy hour menu. They just take something off the regular menu and they discount it. Stupidest thing in the world. If you are taking your regular menu and discounting, you're like doing half off appetizers at happy hour, take your left hand, hold your right hand, smack it and say bad owner. That's the worst thing to do, because now you've just basically trained. We call this consumer behavior. You have trained me that calamari that's normally $14 and now you're selling on a happy hour menu for $7 is not worth $14. It's only worth $7. So now you're conditioning and training me that why would I come in at 8 o'clock and order a calamari when I come in at 4 o'clock and get it for half price? You should have a specialty menu that drives sales for happy hours. What I mean by that, you should do a 5 for 5, 7 for 7, 8 for 8, or you can do an 8 for 5, 8 items or 5 items for $8, whatever your price point is. But you should have a specialty designed menu that's only available during happy hour to drive sales to that time. Right? If everything's the same, I have no reason to come to your restaurant. What is my motivation to come to your restaurant if everything's the same? I don't. If you want to drive happy hour sales, you want to drive late night sales, you have to have special menus in place that drive people to those opportunities. And then optimize your seating. Ensure high value seats are always occupied during prime times. I'll tell you a great example. So last week, you probably noticed the last couple of weeks, I wasn't on the call. I had a couple of my certified restaurant coaches. I had Adam do a call, and then I had Marcus do a call last week. I was in Cabo on vacation. So we're at Cabo. We're at the restaurant. I noticed that we're going for breakfast, and we asked, it's just me and my girlfriend. We're going to get seated, and we come in a little bit late. We're still in time, and like, yeah, 2 of us. And she's taking us to the table, and she's taking us to a 6-top. 2 people at a 6-top. When I look around the dining room and there's 3 2-tops that are dirty that haven't been reset, but she's going to seat me at a 6-top and kill 4 seats. That's RevPash. The hostess was not trained to optimize seating. And what she should have said is like, looked around, instead of taking me to a table that was available that had 6 seats. Now, when a family comes in, there's no place for them to go. Now they have to stand there and wait. That's not optimizing your seating. You want to train your team to be efficient, teach them how to turn tables faster, how to pre-bus a little bit more efficient, how to reset tables faster. The faster you reset tables, the faster I can turn those seats into opportunities, right? And then upselling. Your team should be trained consistently on upselling. There's 3 ways to increase check average: upselling, downselling, cross-selling. Everyone should be trained on all 3. And then what's our action plan? Analyze patterns. Identify hours of the day, especially during the week, that bring in the most revenue. Adjust my staffing and my marketing to push that time. So many people like to push Friday night, Saturday night. If your restaurant is normally busy on Friday and Saturday, stop marketing for Friday and Saturday. You're just making busy busier. What you want to do is you want to start marketing those dead days that you don't have a lot of traffic. Push something on a Tuesday night. Have an LTO. Have a theme something going on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Don't drive traffic to your busy nights. That's just waste of marketing money. Friday is always going to be busy as it is, or Saturday is going to be busy. Marketing is to drive opportunities for those times that are not as busy as you want them to be. And then dynamic pricing. That's what happy hour is for. Dynamic pricing considers maybe adjusting price on demand. Let me give you another great option for dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing is called a pre-fee menu or a fixed price menu. I have a lot of restaurants on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays run a fixed price menu. They offer a 3-course meal for a great price. That's to drive traffic, especially, and we call it, usually we name it as a locals menu. We have a special menu, right? We have a special menu that we do on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays. It's a 3-course meal. It's a set price. Now, here's the thing. I give them a really good deal on the menu. And my goal is to have the service team upsell them into a beverage flight. Maybe a wine flight, maybe a beer flight. Maybe I get that wine flight and I convert that into a bottle of wine. There's always an opportunity to upsell. Right. And then I've got to maximize my turn. I got to maximize turnover, turn tables faster. You should see, like, go out in your restaurant and see what's the average time from a table leaves to its reset. That's a KPI I want to start measuring. Like, what's our average turnover rate as far as table turn? How can I maximize my table flip? I sat in a restaurant the other day. I tell you, it was here in Scottsdale. I sat in a restaurant the other day, and from the time the table was empty to the time someone reset it was 15 minutes. What a waste. What a waste. And they had people at the door. If you just train the team to be more efficient, it will help maximize your RevPASH. RevPASH is a hugely underutilized KPI that you want to start looking at consistently. Next up, my favorite, guest check average. Guest check average is also called PPA, per person average. Depends on what part of the country you're from. I just call it guest check average. It's usually the guest check average is the check average per person. All right. Guest check average is the amount each guest spends. I call it guest check average, and there's table spend average. Now, for my pizza places, we tend to look at ticket average because it's hard to track per person because you don't know if someone's ordering a pizza, if it's for 2 people, 4 people. So it's hard to track per person average, but I can usually do ticket average for my pizza places. All right. To increase guest check average, focus again, upselling, cross-selling, downselling. Create irresistible offers, deals. We call these LTOs. And engineer your menu for maximum profitability. A fresh design menu, if I took your menu, just gave it a fresh coat of paint, gave it a fresh design, some cool new colors, some new fonts, move things around a little bit, I can stimulate your sales 2 to 4% just with a brand new menu every time. Now, hashtag write this down. A properly engineered menu can increase your profits 10 to 15%. That's the power of menu engineering. I did a 45-minute call with one of my clients in the accelerator program. And in a 45-minute menu engineering workshop, we put $154,000 back to his bottom line just by doing a really good menu engineering worksheet and a really good workshop. There is power in menu engineering if someone knows how to use the tools properly. That's why you want to coach, right? Okay. And then action steps, upsell training regularly. That means every day. When I say regularly, it means every day. Okay. Every day, train your team on upselling techniques. Make sure they know the menu inside and out. I was at a restaurant one time. I travel a lot on the road. I try to eat healthy. So I'm getting a salad. I asked the server, I said, I wanted some salmon on the salad. I asked the server, what kind of salmon is it? I think she's going to come back and say it's Atlantic or it's sockeye, something like that. Here's what she said. I think it's mahi-mahi. And I said, I'll have the chicken. Make sure your team knows the menu. And then menu design, a really, really psychologically, using like menu psychology, a well-designed menu psychology implemented menu can really, really drive sales. All right. And I'm talking about really, really good menu psychology. There's tons of tools I teach. In our Extreme Menu Makeover, I will give you all my dirty little menu design secrets. I have a menu design Bible, I call it. It's 80 pages, right? That menu design Bible is like gold. It will give you every tool, every hack, every shortcut, every way I've learned over the years how to redesign a menu to maximize its profitability. And of course, promotions and deals is where the marketing comes in. Create targeted marketing promotions that encourage guests to spend more. Again, we talked about those pre-fee menus, special pairings, wine dinners, special things, LTOs, theme nights, all powerful. So let me tell you the example of why this KPI is so popular. Let's talk about the difference between a linear KPI and a multiplicative KPI. So let's have a baseline. A baseline number is, let's say our restaurant has 100 guests per day. It's open 5 days a week, has a $35 guest check average. So basically they do $3,500 in sales. They do $70,000 a month, $84,000 a year. Take out 30% food cost, right? Take out labor cost, 30%. I'm just using standard numbers, 30-30, right? And then I have fixed expenses of 36%. This is a standard P&L, like an average restaurant. This is what an average restaurant would run. Okay. And of course, they're doing the standard 4% profit. Average restaurant, average numbers. This is actually statistically, this is pretty much where the average restaurant's at. Okay. Now, consultant A, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. Consultant A says, hey, we should do an advertising campaign to increase the effectiveness of your image with the goal is to increase your guest count by 20%. Oh, that sounds pretty good. A lot of times you guys get these marketing plans that come in and say, hey, we're going to increase your guest count 20%. It sounds great. I love it. I mean, who wouldn't want 20% more in more guests in a restaurant? Well, let's look at the numbers. Okay. Consultant A. Well, now I went from 100 guests per day. Now I got 120. I got my 20% pop. I got 120 guests per day. I'm still open 5 days a week. I still have a $35 guest check average. Well, hey, my sales did jump up to $4,200, $84,000 a month. Now I'm a little bit better now. Oh, you know what? Oh, I passed the $1 million mark on sales. The average restaurant in the United States does 1.1 million. So now I'm actually where I should be as far as sales, right? I still got 30% food cost. I still got 30% labor cost. But here's the thing, as your sales go up, of course, your fixed expenses drop down. So we went from 36% to 30%, which is great, right? Now, of course, this guy wanted me to put a billboard out on the highway plus some other advertising. So I'm spending $6,000 on advertising, billboards, marketing campaigns, meta ads, all that stuff. All right. I got another $6,000 and other things he got me spending. But hey, you know what? Damn, that shit worked. I'm at 8.8% profit. He doubled my profit. Wow. Who would like 8% profit? How would like to double their profit? Type in the chat, me. And Donald, I'd like to double my profit from 4 to 8%. Me. Who would like that? Me? Okay. Luke says me. Hold that thought. Here's what I want you to remember and write this down. Guests per day is a linear KPI. This is where the difference between a linear and multiplicative KPI. Here is where the magic happens, ladies and gentlemen. Ready? Consultant B. B is Burns. That's me. I'm going to suggest, hey, you know what? Why don't we just do some internal training with your staff? I get them better educated on the menu. I teach them how to upsell sides, how to get the dessert sales up to around 6% where they should be. And I educate them on wine pairings. Now, my goal is just to increase your guest check average by 20%. Let's see how I did. This is where this is like a game changer for you guys. Ready? So my plan. Now we're back at 100 guests per day, which here's the thing. Sometimes more guests is not really necessarily a good thing because more guests is more wear and tear on everything. More wear and tear on your team, more wear and tear on your plates, more wear and tear on your dish, on everything. So I'm down back to 100 guests per day, which is easily manageable. I don't need extra staff. I don't need extra stuff, right? Still open 5 days a week, but you know what? Now your guest check average jumped up to $42. Ooh, that's nice. Now my sales are the same as consultant A. Now my sales are at $4,200 a day, $84,000 a month. I've hit that $1 million mark, as same as your friend did, right? My food cost is still 30%, but here's the most effective thing you're going to see. When you train your team better, they become more efficient. When they become more efficient, it drops your labor cost. So my labor cost went from 30% now to 25%. Happens every single time. When I train your team better, they become more efficient. When they become more efficient, I need less C players. Okay. Fixed cost is still 30%. If you hired like one of my certified coaches to come in and do an hour training, 2-hour training, $2,000 for the training session to teach you how to do this neuro sewing workshop. And here's the beautiful thing right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to increase your profit 14%. Which plan do you want? Plan A or plan B? Guest check average is a multiplicative KPI. That's why guest check average is my favorite KPI I look at. And if you're not looking at guest check average on a daily basis, I mean, daily, actually training, teaching, developing your team how to use guest check average, you are losing the game. Losing the game every single day. That's why guest check average is so powerful. Next KPI you want to look at, discounts and comps. This is where, again, a lot of people bleed out. Tracking your discounts and comps is so huge. Right? It is essential. You got to make sure you're not giving away the store. You don't want to give away your hard-earned profits. And there's the biggest thing. Most of you lump all your discounts and comps in one category. You got to separate it because I need to know where the discounts and comps are. If it's guest relations, is it waste and spills? Is it manager and employee meals? Is it discounts and promos? Now, some stuff I definitely want to market. I want to take some of my money and market it. Maybe I'm doing some really cool stuff. I'm doing some some really cool things as LTOs. I want to make sure I'm categorizing my discounts. That's our action plan. You got to categorize your discounts. If you don't have your discounts categorized, you're losing money. And then you have to monitor it regularly. When I say regularly, what do I mean? Daily. Every morning, my members are supposed to get up, look at their POS system, look at the discounts and comps, and realize where are they. Remember, a KPI is a warning. Right? And then I have to evaluate my ROI. Make sure I'm getting effectiveness for my promotional discounts. The worst thing you want to do is just throw money down the tubes. Luke and Michael are great at marketing for one reason. If they don't see you getting results, getting an ROI, they will kill you to change up they'll change the game plan on you, change the campaign. That's great marketing. A marketing company that doesn't make adjustments for you is the worst one to do. The guys just blindly put out posts and just don't have any kind of engagement with your audience. Don't monitor your stuff. Don't measuring, have a dashboard where they're telling you what the analytics are. Stay away from those companies. That's why SkyTel Restaurant Growth is such a powerful tool. That's why I partnered up with them, because they know what they're doing. There's a lot of charlatans out there in this restaurant marketing game that will take your money and leave you high and dry. Right? I will tell you, one of the things I respect and admire about Mike and Luke is that they are the first to say, you know what? We need to slow things down a little bit. We need to go back to fundamentals. They're the first ones to and I know recently they've had some personnel changes. They got rid of some people on their team that weren't producing the right way, weren't being attentive to the guest and to their clients. And they got rid of those people. They're like me. If you're not producing, you're not getting results for the clients, I'm not gonna tolerate poor performance. That's one of the reasons I partnered up with these guys, is that they walk the talk. All right. They're here to make sure you get results in your marketing. I'm here to make sure you get results in everything else in your restaurant. All right. Now, let's talk about marketing impressions. This is a fun one. Marketing impressions. Now, marketing impressions are like the lifeblood of your restaurant's visibility. This KPI tracks how many potential guests see your marketing efforts. Most of the time when we're marketing, we do it wrong. What do I mean by wrong? What I mean by wrong is that we think that just because I'm posting a lot means I'm getting a lot of stuff. Doesn't matter. Remember, hashtag, write this down. Money follows attention. Money follows attention. Another thing you'll hear me say a lot is best known beats best. If you think marketing is about getting a sale, you're missing the whole part of marketing. Marketing is not about getting a sale. You don't post this morning at 9 o'clock and hope you're going to have a rush at lunch. It's not how marketing works. Marketing is a consistency and frequency game, plain and simple. That's why you need a marketing team to keep you out there consistently. Every time I have a call with someone on the accelerator program, my sales are slow, my sales are low, my sales are low. I'll go look at their marketing. I know exactly why your sales are low. Your marketing sucks. You're posting every 5 days. I mean, no one even knows you fucking exist, man. Right? If you follow me on social media, you see me post a lot because I will be in your face all the time. Right? Marketing impressions, money follows attraction, money follows attention. Track it daily. You want to be aggressive in your marketing. If your sales are slow, sales are sluggish, this is no time. It's like, I'm going to dabble a little bit in marketing. No, I need you to be aggressive. You ever hear like these motivational speakers saying, hey, Luke, you got to be hungry for success. I want you to be hungry. I'm going to take it one step further. You want to be starving for success. When I look at my marketing, I am starving. I am obsessed with keeping my brand top of mind all the time. That's the goal of marketing. All right. You got to be multi-channel. You just can't be all in on Facebook. You got to be multi-channel nowadays. Probably the biggest area a lot of my clients are finding the most successes is on YouTube. You got to have a strategy. Posting randomly once a day is not a strategy. That's what we call hope marketing. I put up a post and hope we get some business. Hope is not a strategy. You got to have a content strategy, right? And you got to analyze the metrics. Now, let me take you down the rabbit hole into something really, really, I mean, this shit is going to blow your mind away. Okay. I have an article. Have you ever heard of Medium before? Medium is like a blog post. I write on Medium a lot. I usually put out 1 or 2 blog posts on Medium every week. If you just go to medium.com/@Donald Burns, you can see all my articles. I did this one a while back called Unleashing the Beast, the badass marketing math every restaurant should know. If you want to understand how do impressions translate into cash? Let me show you how exactly that works. Okay. I'm going to show something to you that you're going to like, just when you see this, you're going to be freaked out. You ready? Everybody see my screen? Okay. Type in the chat if you can see my screen. It should say 100K and it should have a little formula on there. Everyone see that? Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. All right. Perfect. All right. I'm going to break this down for you. We call this the Rockstar Revenue Formula, right? The RR, Rockstar Revenue. So Rockstar Revenue, that's what RR is. Oop. All right. Right. Revenue. Now there's a formula here. Rockstar revenue is that basically, so let's say, let's just for instance say I want to do $100,000 a month. So my target is, right? And the IP, just so you don't understand what these numbers are, IP is impression power. So I got to understand if I want to do $100,000 in sales, what kind of impressions do I need to make this number work, right? So here's how it breaks down. So this is really fun too, okay? So let's say I have a restaurant and I have a restaurant that has a guest check average of $25 per person, okay? Pretty normal. So I'm going to basically, and we have some things in here. So CM, when you see this formula here, CM is what we call conversion mojo, okay? Conversion mojo, right? And then CFP is what we call my cash flow projection, right? This is what I want to do for cash, right? Cash flow power, right? Cash flow power. Now watch this magic happen here. This is like crazy. You ready? Are you ready? You're ready? You're ready? You're ready? You're ready? All right. So let's say I want to make $100,000. Let me get my screen here, right? Oh. Okay. So, all right. I want to do $100,000. Anybody want to do $100,000 a month? Right. Now, conversion is something a little tricky. So conversion is the percentage of people who actually act on seeing your content. Right. Now, for an average conversion rate, I usually start off at like 1% because that's a good rate to start. Now, as your marketing gets better, your conversion rate will grow. So let's say my IP is $100,000. $100,000. Okay. I'm going to take that by the conversion rate, which is 0.01. If I put it into a decimal point, then I times it by my $25, right? Okay. So if I do that, that means to get $100,000, 100K, right? My IP is 0.25 impression rate. That means I need this many impressions to get $100,000. If I do 400,000 impressions, I'll make $100,000 a month. This formula actually works. I've done this with clients that actually have really big restaurants, especially in any major thing. Now, go back and look at your social media stats and look at how many impressions you're getting. Like, this is where people go sideways, is they think that hey, Donald, I'm posting 5 times a week. And I'm getting 20,000 impressions. How come my sales aren't where I want them to be? Right? Because your sales and your impressions are linked together. If your sales are not where they need them to be, you need to up your impressions. Guaranteed. Impression math is powerful. So powerful. It's just math, people. It is. It really is just math. Okay. And then the final one we're going to look at is cash flow. Cash flow is the heartbeat of your restaurant. Without cash flow, you're dead. That's money coming in, money coming out. It predicts my needs, it controls expenses. How do I do that? I need to, number one, have a cash flow statement. I need to understand I have to have a forecast or a budget. I need to be able to look at my budget and control expenses. I need to see what's high, what's low, and where to make adjustments. Understanding my cash flow also allows me to adjust my pricing and staffing based on cash flow. It also helps me manage debt a lot better. Cash flow also helps me expand sustainably. If anyone ever wanted to grow their business, all my clients know I have a rule. If you have 1 restaurant, 2 restaurants, 3 restaurants, if you ever want to open another location, this is my guideline, and this is the guideline you want to follow. You got to be at 12% profit before you open another restaurant. Do not open another restaurant unless your first restaurant or your second restaurant, like I'm going to 3. I can't open location number 3 until 1 and 2 are at least at 12%. It will save you so much headache. This is the number 1 mistake most restaurants make. They open up restaurant number 1. It's not doing that well. They're below 12%. They get an opportunity to get to the second location, open up a second location. That's not doing well. Now you're on this giant hamster wheel running back and forth, trying to stop the bleeding at 2 restaurants. It's the worst thing you can do. You want to talk about adding on stress and anxiety? That'll do it to you every time. Okay. How do we measure cash? How do we monitor cash flow? Monitor it daily. Expense management. This is called a budget. You got to have a budget and a P&L. We talk about theoretical and actual food costs, like it's a 1-2 punch. Well, you need a budget and you need a P&L. A restaurant P&L, not your QuickBooks piece of crap P&L. You need a real P&L, a real restaurant P&L that has percentages. And then you have to have a plan for it. When you have a budget and you have a strategic plan, now we can do something. Fair enough? Final thoughts. Oh, I tell you, man, the difference between thriving and surviving comes down how well you understand and leverage your KPIs. These metrics, I mean, they're more than just, they are the lifeblood. They are the pulse. They are critical into providing insight into every aspect of your operations. Controlling your cost, guest experience. I'm telling you, it is huge. Ignoring these indicators is like driving blindfold. And I don't know about you guys, but driving blindfold is the worst thing you want to do. And I've seen tons of restaurants doing it. Okay. If you manage these things, on the other hand, you are empowered to make informed decisions. You will optimize performance and you actually will achieve success. There's not a successful restaurant out there in the world that does not measure, manage their KPIs. Hashtag, write this down. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. If you can't manage it, you can't improve it. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. If you can't manage it, you cannot improve it. So dig into your numbers. Don't assume anything. Let your data lead you to greatness. KPI mastery is a continuous journey, right? But if you're willing to commit to it, I mean, the rewards are huge. It will not only just transform your restaurant's profitability, it also transform the quality of your life because it gets you free from working in your restaurant. A lot of restaurant owners, when I say I'm stuck working in my restaurant, there's a reason you're stuck working in a restaurant because you're bleeding out and you don't have a grip on the numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. In fact, you don't have a business. What you have is a hobby, a very, very expensive hobby. Okay. So for those of you who show up today, we're going to give you a download. It's going to be my 9 ways to make more money in 9 days, 90 days, 9 ways to make more money in 90. Stop struggling and start thriving in the new economy. Now, before we leave, let me ask you a question. If I dropped you off, Rod said, how many impressions to reach 100K? 400,000. 400,000 impressions to reach 100,000, to reach 100K. So if I was to drop you off in the middle of the woods and just left you out there in the middle of the woods, let's say I drop Luke off in the middle of this forest, this wilderness, with just a water bottle, and it's almost nighttime, and said, Luke, make it back to civilization. If not, you'll probably be eaten by wolves and bears, and we'll never see you again. The chances of Luke making it back with just a water bottle are probably pretty slim. But if I gave Luke a topographical map and a compass, and I showed him how to use those books, I trained him, I gave him the tools and the training to use those tools effectively, he'd make it back. And I know he would. Now, for the last 14 years, my coaching programs have helped way over 2,800, almost 2,900 restaurants now, just like yours. Because here's why. Coaching provides 2 things you need: accountability and new tools. The Accelerator program is the roadmap to success. It is 9 modules, actually 10 modules. There's another module I threw in there you didn't know you have. Plus, I'm going to give you a lot of tools in your toolkits. Remember, my job is to give you more tools. So I'm going to give you a lot of other courses, workshops that give you tons and tons of value, tons of way to look at your tools, look at your restaurant, and actually explore getting better options. Now, the beautiful thing about our program is it's all mobile compatible. So you can download stuff on your phone and you can listen to it while you're driving, while you're working out, while you're in the kitchen. You get access to every one of the Accelerator modules. Plus, you get some extra workshops that's going to help you really, really dial in. You get every download I've ever collected over 45 years. And you're also going to get a one-on-one coaching call with one of my certified restaurant coaches. It's over 200 hours of downloads, 200 hours of information, 380 downloads. I'm not going to sell you hard on it. All you got to do is just reach out to Luke or someone on the restaurant growth support team and ask about the Accelerator program. I know Luke has, I think he put a link in the chat right now. But if you want to get on it, I mean, it's a fantastic deal. And they have financing available. They have all kinds of stuff available. These guys are really, really impressive. Okay. And then Sandra said for the impression math in her Q&A, 400,000 impressions per month. That's the answer. 400,000 a month to get 100,000 a month. Now, if you want to get 100,000 a week, it's 400,000 impressions a week. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? You can either type them in the chat, you can type them in the Q&A. Oh, it says I'm a recovering restaurant owner. This is what I say. I'm a recovering restaurant owner. It means once you become a restaurant owner, you're never out of the game. Yeah, I'm a recovering restaurant owner. I'm a recovering restaurant owner. I've owned restaurants in the past. I always say I'm a recovering restaurant owner. Yeah. Just like being in recovery, you're never out of the game. Yeah. I'm like you. I've been there. I've been in that pit. I've been in that pit, digging myself deeper and deeper into the hole, pulling the dirt over myself, just thinking I could outwork the problem. But all I did was just bury myself more and more and more. And it wasn't until someone reached a hand out and asked if they could help me, What about hiring? Hiring is a huge issue. Here's the biggest thing. Most restaurants don't have a hiring problem, they have a culture problem. And the thing I will tell you is that a lot of times when you're marketing really, really aggressively your food and your drink. Are you marketing your culture? Are you showing me why you're different? The horrible thing about restaurants is we have this horrible stereotype, this stigma. Okay. We treat people like crap. We're going to yell and scream at you. It's going to be like Hell's Kitchen. You're going to get yelled at, thrown at, called a donkey. You're going to get paid dirt. You're never going to see your family. Your goldfish is going to die because you're never going to be home. If you don't tell me why you're different, I assume you're like every other crappy restaurant in town. Start marketing your culture. You want to start marketing your culture better. I have a thing in the talent attraction method. It's called the perfect job post. The perfect job post is a psychologically designed job ad that will show you how to make a really, a great job ad that actually will get people. Everyone who's used the perfect job post has gone from getting 4 people applying to their restaurant to getting over 100 people applying to the restaurant. The job ad works. It's psychologically designed. I actually did a lot of research in there, and we had this thing. It's super down. It doesn't matter what size market you're in. The perfect job post model works. It's in the talent attraction method. It works like gold. All right. So a lot of times it's not your hiring. It's usually your job ads and your culture, and you're not marketing your culture. What's the goal for discounts and comps? 4%. Now, discounts and comps, I usually want my discounts and comps around 4%. Now, marketing discounts and comps, what we call A&P, advertising and promotion, that goes into a different line item on your P&L. That's why you got to separate your discounts and comps, because anything that's for marketing goes under your marketing budget. But your overall discounts and comps for mistakes, for like mess ups, things like that, that's around 4%. You want to keep it around 4% or less. In the profit clinic, we have a KPI dashboard. You have this Excel. It's a Google spreadsheet. It gives you this really cool gauge, and it gives you your KPIs like a gauge in a car. It'll give you red and green. If it's red, you're good. If it's green, you're good. If it's red, you're dead. It's the greatest thing. Right? Do I believe in ghost kitchens? Ghost kitchens were great at one point. I don't think ghost kitchens are a very, very viable operation anymore, unless you're partnering up with somebody and you're doing them as a small thing, or you have a big concept and you need to expand out and you need to take up some, use some part of your restaurant space. I've had big restaurants that basically had a lot of space and they've done some ghost kitchens like that. But ghost kitchens were really popular. They're not as popular anymore as they were. And the highest profit possible, it depends on your your concept. So my taverns run the highest profitability. And this also goes back to what we call menu mix. Your menu mix is your food and beverage mix. Most restaurants run an average 80-20 mix, 80% food, 20% beverage. The more you can move the beverage part up higher, the bigger profitability. Like my taverns, which usually do like a 75 or an 80% beverage and 25% food, they make around 40% profit. My nightclubs and bars do around 70% profit, right? My breakfast and lunch, my breakfast places that do breakfast and lunch only, they do anywhere from 28 to 32% profit. My pizza places do around 22% profit. My full service restaurants do anywhere from 18 to 24% profit. My steakhouses do anywhere from 16 to 18% profit. It all depends on your concept, right? So if I know what your concept is, I can help you out with that a little bit, right? Yeah, but I've seen the accelerator program is why, that's why we have like a 19.8, because we have some places that are taverns, which do really high. We have some places that are breakfast places that do, 28, 32% profit. I have a lot of Italian places. I have a lot of pizza places in our coaching program. We have a lot of fast casual places. And depending on your concept, depends on what your profitability is. If you ever want to you want me to look at your menu, you can email me, donald@therestaurantcoach.com. Just email me your restaurant's website, and I can kind of give you an estimate where you should be based on what I see as far as the optics. Now, that's not going into your numbers, but just based on what your restaurant looks like, what your concept is, what your menu looks like, I can usually give you a pretty rough estimate for where you should be. Right. And I can do that in like 5 minutes because I've seen thousands of restaurants. I can do this with my eyes. I read restaurants like Neo reads the Matrix. Easy, easy, easy. I want to say thanks for being here today. I appreciate everyone here. Thanks for showing up on the calls. I love doing these calls with you guys. You guys are awesome. Anybody else have any other questions for me?
Thank you, Donald. This is one of my favorite webinars we've done.
I love these webinars, man. Yeah. Awesome stuff.
This is great. Thanks so much, guys, for being here. We are running the promo, like Donald said. We're not going to hard sell you on joining the coaching program, but it is an awesome program. So there's a link in the chat box. You can get 50% off your first month. This is just a little friendly nudge to give you an incentive to join it. If you look at some of Donald's testimonials that he has, they give me the goosebumps. They are just like, people get great results with it, and it's incredible. So
I had a guy. I got a new one for you. Yeah. I got a guy today, Michael from Bailey's. He's one of our ads we do. Michael from Bailey's.
Yeah.
He just really started dialing in his food costs a lot better. In the last 2 months, he added 12% to his bottom line. Just by dialing in his prime costs. We really started focusing on his prime costs, his food costs, labor costs. He added 12% to his bottom line. And Michael is doing pretty good. Yeah. Michael's doing so well right now. He just signed a deal to build a house in Costa Rica. That's how well his restaurant's doing. And this is a guy who a year and a half ago, he was handcuffed to his restaurant. Couldn't escape. Running around circles.
Didn't Michael say that he was busy as heck?
Busy as heck.
But they weren't making any money.
He wasn't making no money.
Yeah.
Now he's up. He's way above 18% profit margin, and he's buying a house in Costa Rica. His goal is to run his restaurant remotely from Costa Rica within a year. I mean, that's what happens when I'm telling you, we always say, we have a saying, if you want to win the game, just follow the frame. The 3P framework is the framework. If you follow the frame, you can win it. Just got to follow the game. That's all. Follow the frame and you win the game every single time.
I love it. Well,
thank you so much. I appreciate you
for dropping the value today. Guys, that promo that we're doing, if you want to take advantage of the coaching program, Don, you can jump.
Thanks,
you guys can do that. It's valid towards the end of the month, valid for 10 restaurants. So it is a limited time thing that we're doing. You'll find the link in the chat box if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, no problem at all. You'll get these mini trainings as we're doing every week. You'll also find this call recording in your portal. So this will be uploaded in about 24 to 48 hours. You can go ahead and rewatch it with your staff and rewatch it as many times as you'd like. The PDF that Donald mentioned as well will also be in the portal. So I'll put a link here in the chat as well. If you don't have access to the portal, or if you forgot where it is, you can just find us on our homepage, or I put it right there in the chat as well. All right, guys. Well, you've spent about 75 minutes with us today, so thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you guys all have to run. I got to go as well. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you same day and time next week. All right, guys. Cheers.